right, we're here. It's week 3, Lord of the Rings League. We got our feature matches here, and we're starting off with should be a good one here. We got Rafael F, who's right up on top of the standings there, 11-2 so far, and he's up against Caleb G, who is our most winningest player in feature matches. He's got 12-2 record in the feature matches here, and so they both actually started off 5-0 in week 1. Caleb cooled down a bit, is 6-4. Rafael's kept it going, but we got a wrench here in that in week 3 you have to build 5 different 2-color decks. So we'll see how Rafael's black-white build is going to do. What's Caleb running over there?
Spoiler: we have a mirror match here, black-white. What he's got in hand right now is a Troll of Khazad-dûm, which can swamp cycle. We have a Nazgul. We have Oath of the Grey House, which is that saga that kind of helps both players at the start with the Land of Val, the legendary bird.
Yep.
Gothmog was just drawn, and big warning here, Anduril, one of the bombs of the set.
Well, that is a card you get to put in all of your decks this week. So.
Yeah, I'm running 2 files. I think I'd rather 2 Andurils, but
I think the files are legendary though, so you can't have them.
They are. They are.
So we got Nazgul here, one of the best turn 3 plays you can have in this format. Like better than a lot of the rares, definitely among the best uncommons. Just a nightmare to try and block. So Raphael's pretty much he can go for an Errand Rider of Gondor, or he could go for a Gorbag here and have a Shalab's Ambush potential if he wants to try and block this Nazgul. He's just going to go for the Errant Rider here. The main argument for the Gorbag is so that next turn he can draw a card with the Errand Rider rather than just drawing a card and putting one on the bottom.
Is Gorbag the 2/2 with a hit trigger?
Yeah, it's the 2/2 legend for 2. So he could have played that and then set up an Errand Rider next turn where he could draw a card and keep it.
So, cheap legendary card.
So yeah, this week was supposed to sort of spice things up and give people, give a variety of decks a chance to shine. A lot of what I've seen is just people are playing their black decks, mostly black with other colors.
Black deck.
I've seen a couple other decks. I've seen a couple Boros decks. The green decks, not seen as many of them. But I've just seen a lot of just black with whatever decks. And that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Building 5 decks is quite a task. I kind of knocked all mine out at the same time and then realized if I lose, I'm going to get punishment packs. And not only might I just switch a card or 2 from a deck already built, I might want to do entire color pairs if I open some sweet multicolor rare. So I don't know. It's a lot of deck building this week.
So Rafael does have if he would have drawn a land this turn, he would have been able to cast Torment of Gollum to take away the sword. He does have Lost to Legend, which costs an extra white, but it does. I believe you can target the sword with it. It'll just put it somewhere down in the library.
A hit card, yeah.
Yeah, so he's able to trade off here, but I mean, this is just a temporary solution. This sword is bound to take over this game very quickly. And without lands here for Raphael, there's not much he can do. He can try and fight back here, play Gorbag. He has 2 Orcish Medicine in hand, Torment of Gollum, which he can't cast, and Lost to Legend, which also can't cast. So even though he's got one of the best cards in the format, Orcish Bowmasters in play, picked off a token, but other than that...
Caleb had in Land Reval turn, but it's better just to equip the sword for sure.
I mean,
gonna make more flyers.
He's taking 9 here unless he decides to chump block. So he does have 2 Orcish Medicine, so that can give him life bumps with the lifelink, but these flyers it's just too much. And next turn he's going to lose 3 life here. He does have a 4th land. Again, he does have food. He does have ways to gain life, but he's just going to pack it in here. He is taking 6 in the air next turn, so not much.
So I'm not sure about how strong these players think of their Orzhov builds. There's a bit of a strategy going with if you lead with your stronger deck or your weaker decks, and you can even see what your opponents have been playing, if they're likely to be playing an aggro color or not. You can kind of cue into them knowing what they've already played. So there's extra strategy going on this week.
Yeah, well, we actually have 2 players later on that actually conferred about what decks they're running, and they both decide to go with the weakest of their 5, which we're going to see later tonight. So the 2 players conferred. They said, let's You know, they wanted it to be competitive. They didn't want somebody bringing their fourth or fifth best deck against the other person's best deck, and you know, it being a it
Caleb
being a squash. So
is sideboarding in the Black Breath. Maybe saw some X ones. The ring to roll them all. Not the most impressive rare, but it's a Saga.
it's playable.
I see 3 copies of 3 different things: Landreval, Protector of Gondor, which is the 2 humans, and 3 copies of Fog on the Barrow Downs, which he's hovering over. Maybe gonna.
Yeah, so Raphael, he very quickly took out an Orcish Medicine and added in a 24th land, and then immediately submitted his deck right after. So he just said, I mean, you know, missing his land drops one game doesn't mean he doesn't have enough lands, but he said, I want to go from 23 to 24, and those Orcish Medicines aren't that useful. It's a pretty narrow card, so that was the only
Against the
swap he did.
Resolved Andorel, not much you can do anyway.
But I know that Raphael, he has not just 2 copies of Orcish Bowmasters in his deck. He has Andoril as well. He has the Witch King, the 5/3
Ooh,
flyer. So there's a reason why he's
that's a
up on top
bomb.
of the standings there. He's just
Those
got some
are
of
some
the
bombs.
dominant cards of the format here.
Did you happen to notice a Westfold Rider, which is also in Caleb's hand right now? Because that can deal with an artifact, I believe, if you sack it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can remove the Andoril. Right, here's
I'm
Westfold
not sure if
Rider.
I'm not sure if Raphael has one. There's also a Faramir, Protector of Gondor, and Landreval, 2 of those 3 ofs that I said.
Interesting that Raphael's decided to go with the shadow summoning here and leave up Orcish Bowmasters. He could have played Mirkwood Bats, and then next turn he could have done the shadow summoning, and it would have dealt 2 extra damage to Caleb with the Bats trigger. Looks like he's gonna be picking off this Westfold Rider here with the Orcish Bowmasters. I can't imagine he wouldn't after having not tapped out.
There's a so there's only 2 options to play. It's either one of the 2 Protector of Gondors in hand, or Faramir, which draws extra cards, which Bowmasters could punish, but it doesn't seem like the right play here.
Yeah, Faramir. I mean, maybe the first turn you get to draw a card from him because you can play it after combat, after you've traded off. But after that, your opponent can play around it and reduce the amount of cards you draw from it. But is a good one.
Also, Faramir, you would have to give up your Westfold Rider just to
Yeah,
draw a card. It doesn't
and
seem
we are
that great.
talking about the mono white Faramir since there's no splashes going on this week. We're not talking about the busted blue white one.
Oh yeah, several different of the named characters depicted on cards in this set.
Yeah, like I said, I was surprised he didn't play Mirkwood Bats last turn and then be able to have the shadow summoning deal 2 damage right away, almost like the tokens had haste in a way. Oh, he's drawn a second Orcish Bowmaster, so if Caleb tries to start drawing extra cards, this could get messy very quickly.
There's only the Faramir, so I wouldn't be terrible. Actually, Landreval is a good play too. I was gonna say I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the 1/1 just comes in to get cheeky. So Faramir draws a card, but the Landreval is definitely a good blocker here against these 1/1.
All right, so he's going in with the Errand Rider. He does have that other Orcish Bowmasters in hand, so I'm sure he'd like his 3/2 to get blocked by the 3/4, but Caleb probably figures that's not really an option. He's just going to trade off here.
Very suspect attack if you don't
Yeah,
have something to finish off Landreval.
yeah, like Caleb's never blocking with it, and Rafael knows that, so he says, "Well, I might as well attack." I mean, I do have something to finish it off if he blocks. Here comes the bats. This 3/4 flying is going to hold off pretty much everything here until Raphael finds a removal.
Protector of Gondor seems to be coming out. Yeah, so the hand is just Crebain and Mono White Faramir.
Okay.
So Faramir is probably going to get cashed in for decent chance. It's going to get cashed in for some card draw, which might get punished.
All right, so Raphael's got 6 land for his Voracious Fell Beast. I mean, it's only going to eat up a little 1/1 token, but still gives him the board presence here now with a 4/4 flyer that beats the 3/4 flyer, so he can resume his attacking next turn.
Food making some the bat do some damage even.
Right,
Okay, Faramir's coming in.
so we just got a bunch of more or less random creatures here sitting on the board. Uh, yeah, another land for Raphael here. He's going to hold off his Bowmasters until probably Caleb tries to draw a card. In the meantime, he's going to attack it for 4.
I wonder if to attack in with the 1/1 just to have it die, so Faramir dies, gets a card draw,
Well,
or gets into 1 damage.
it only triggers at the beginning of your end step.
I mean, you could attack and play
Oh, he could
Faramir after.
attack with the 1/1, right?
Probably would have gone down to 19. That's probably what would have happened.
And I mean, that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
So no, I guess yeah. Like unless your opponent has like a lifelink creature they can block with, then a 1/1 that just trades with a 1/1 or gets in 1 damage. And it's either a damage or a card, and passing the turn having done neither is probably not where Caleb would want to be.
Flying meta Orzhov mirror, just flying creatures making the biggest difference here. And Cribane's in the hand, so it's another flyer coming.
I'm not sure what the delay is here. Obviously, Caleb's not blocking, so looks like he's going to pass turn. No, he has a swamp, and again, another Orcish Bowmaster. So, again, if Caleb does end up finding something that draws a card, there's going to be double Bowmasters facing him down, which can get out of hand quickly.
Oh, we're well into the game, too, and I don't think anyone's tempted yet. Am I wrong about that? No tempting.
We haven't seen too much of that. Just if you don't have the cards, you don't have the cards. I mean,
Yeah,
Faramir does reward you for tempting creatures other than him with the ring, but it doesn't provide that ring tempt to get you rolling.
I think of the other 3 colors. Well, maybe white and black can do that too. The other 3 colors, you see it a lot.
Yeah, well, I think they did a pretty good job of putting ring temp kind of evenly across all the colors. Like, there's quite good cards in every color at common that gives you the ring. So they did a good job covering all their bases.
A lot of them are straight good cards with tempt on it.
I mean, it's your headline mechanic. It's it's the ring. It's the thing we expected to see some version of, and they did it in all the colors. They didn't just keep it for certain colors like they do certain mechanics. Like we see mechanics like a mass. It's only black, red, and blue that mass. But ring temp, they gave it to all the colors.
I imagine what Caleb's thinking is, what attacks might he have for Faramir to trigger? Because it's just a Cribane and planes in hand. Just wondering which attacks to make.
Okay, so he can send in here with the 2/2.
How does Death Touch to what, goblins and orcs or something?
Yes, but this is just a chump block here. He doesn't. I guess he doesn't want to take damage, and he doesn't want Caleb to draw a card. So he said, "Well, I'll just throw my 1/1 away." But interesting. Okay, so he is gonna send the Bowmasters here to finish off the Cavalier. It will not trigger the Faramir because he was already in his end step.
It did create a token, which pinged. So that was a nice block.
Yeah, I mean, these Bowmasters, it just adds up. Like, it just adds up. Oh, he's got Sam's Desperate Rescue now, which is a ring tempt card. So you can think about you can think about deploying that.
If he did it pre-combat, he could have traded off.
He could have put on his 1/1 flyer if he really wanted to, but it would have just traded for the Cribane. Right, he's gonna put on the bats. Yeah, that's probably a better one. It has a clean attack. And now he's drawn a Landreval of his own, so he can really pile on potentially some damage next turn.
Landreval's not going to come down because the only playable card now is the Torment of Golem, just drawn.
This is a card I've just loved. It reminds me of Toll of the Invasion from War of the Spark, which was 3 mana and you amassed 1, but otherwise it was doing the same thing. And I loved that card, and I'm liking this card. Yeah, 4 mana is more than 3, but it's just
not enough good things to be said about this card in this set.
Yeah, and I mean it's a spell, so spells matter. You could cast it a turn early with my my favorite common, the Pelargir Survivor. You can even, if you have Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, you can cast it on your opponent's draw step. So those are just some of the fun things you can do with that one. But yeah, looks like Caleb can't really attack, nor can he really block. I mean, I guess he could block now. Okay, looks like he's sacrificing this token to deal 2 damage. So
Deal
the
two.
Merc with Bats plus Grima here, there's 2 more tokens to sack. This could be over very quickly.
That pulls a heavy workload in a lot of these games that are standstill.
Yeah, it's been a card I found it hard to utilize in draft. I kind of feel like the deck that wants bats wants like 3, 4, 5 of them. And like anytime I've had like a deck with one bat, it just wasn't consistently good enough. But you know, in league where you know you play what you got, it's working out this game.
Combine
It's
it with a
definitely
rally or
promising.
some treasures, it starts to get crazy.
Right? In comes
But
a
yeah, one several is a lot better than
in comes
one.
a 4/4. Rafael can pretty safely take this at 23. So looks like this game is gonna be potentially winding down to its end here. And now we got Black Breath off the top, which is gonna wipe out 2 creatures here. Now that's actually just going to finish the game because he has lethal flying plus the Grima triggers. So
Must have been lethal anyway, because Grima stacks for basically 2 damage. So he showed it for no reason, but whatever.
yeah, so it was kind of a board stall there, and the Voracious Fellbeast just came down was the biggest thing. Got in for a few points of damage. The bats poked in with some damage there, with combined with Grima, and that all equals a win. And he's looked through his sideboard, and I mean he has a couple white and black cards and some artifacts, but again he has only 2 losses, so he's the player with the least punishment packs right now. So you know, while you look at the standings and you say, "Wow, 11-2, that's scary." On the other hand, because of the way our league works, he's got the least cards in his pool. So
And I wonder. I mean, he's probably going to put black in all his decks, or at least 3 of them, I would imagine.
4 probably.
Yeah, at least 3, I would say. 4, if it makes sense.
I think with 2 Bowmasters and the Witch King,
Oh,
I think you can even make black green work. So he had a hand with I think it was only white cards and swamps, and he decided to send it back, and now he's got only swamps, 1 white card, but the rest are black cards. So he has some cards that we able to cast. Gorbag here, Grima. He's gonna have to get a plains to cast his 2 Errand Rider of Gondors. But
oh.
what's going on
I
for
was going to
Caleb
say
over
a
there?
little underwhelming. Hey, there's 3/2 dropped with Gorbaggy, Smart Cavalier, Fog on the Baradons, Black Breath, a Torment of Golem in hand, but this top deck this turn, can you imagine what I would have
Oh
had
boy,
that reaction about?
oh
Down.
that's bad news for Rafael here.
That changed the dynamic of the game, that top deck. We'll see.
Yeah, well, that card's just completely ridiculous, right? I mean, it's kind of like the swords of you know, swords of this and that we've seen before. It's very reminiscent of that.
Well, since Raphael has one of his own, how does Andorel versus Andorel work? I can't wait to see.
Well, Rafael
There's a
does not have it in hand, so
there's a Black Breath in hand, so even so, there's no an answer to it.
yeah, we might not have a chance to see. He's deciding if he wants to sacrifice his Gorbag here just to try and draw a card, or he could make a treasure to cast his Errand Rider. I think instead of casting Grima, he's just going to leave up Golem's Bite, so he's going to blank the sword for a turn if Caleb tries to equip it.
Torment of Golem could have been played, would have been a pretty good thing to do, because even if you Golem bites in response, you still get a 2/2.
So this is basically like casting the card Fog, essentially, is what he's done this turn.
Did you notice if there was not any Smart Cavalier, the Westfall Rider in Raphael's list? Because that's one Andorel answer.
Did not get a chance. He went through his sideboarding a little too quick in both the games, so I didn't get a good look at it. So he's got Torment of Golem here. Unfortunately, the card that he wants gone is already on the battlefield. The best he could do is maybe limit the amount of creatures that Caleb's gonna have access to. But
Smart Cavalier is not legendary, so Andorel's tokens will disappear, right? Do they sack, or
no, it's
they
just
just come tapped? Oh,
if the creature's a legend, they come attacking. Otherwise,
yeah.
they just come into play tapped.
Okay,
So
so it's even better.
all the cards that make 1/1 spirits, they bring them into play tapped in the set. So
Even
I
attacking
don't know
ones,
if
they're
that's a
tapped.
flavor thing for Lord of the Rings. I have no idea, but like the shadow summoning, the Oath of the Grey Hosts, the 3rd level, which makes 3/1/1s, they're tapped, and same with this one. So and the King of
Oh,
the Oathbreakers as well. So,
it's so good.
right, so he's got 3 Errand Rider of Gondors in hand, which is a great card. Unfortunately, um, no white mana to go with it.
Looks like both games are just going to be Andoril early and chill.
Yeah, I mean the card's just really unreasonable. Like you could trade with the creature, but you still get 1/1s, and you just keep putting it on the 1/1s, and the game spirals really really fast. You have to remove the sword basically immediately, and there's very limited ways to do that. And it comes down before Torment of Golem because it's a 3-drop, and you could play it no matter what because it's colorless. So yeah, just the hallmarks of a very unpleasant design, and just a card that is not fun to play against at all.
Can you do? And it goes in all his decks this week. A bit of
Yep.
a
Yeah. So cards like that, cards like the Palantir, the Crystal Ball one, like those cards just they take over games and they go in every deck this week. So it's kind of like these, you know, you're a very very oppressive mythic in a set where like a lot of the rares and mythics aren't super powerful. This card's just a complete outlier, really dominant here. So Caleb takes the win, and he continues to be the winningest feature match player with his 13th feature match win. So
not
congratulations
a
to Caleb.
two game losing streak though.
And we'll be back a little while with the second match.